Hey, summer break is almost here. We're flying into summer, folks. Was that cute or what? I don't know. Sometimes my kids look at these things and go, "Dad, you're trying too hard." Well, you know what? I think it's just good to be alive, isn't it? And yeah, summer break is almost here. For you leaders, you're going, break? Yeah, summer's almost here. You're right. And for most leadership teams, that means one thing: strategic planning session. And it doesn't have to be the fancy kind with all the community engagement and the sticky dots and all the stuff. We're talking about just taking a look at your year and qualifying whether or not you had high performance, average performance, or underperformance, right? Your retreat is probably booked. The facilitator, maybe you've got a facilitator. I would strongly encourage folks, boss, you should be doing this kind of work yourself. Just one guy's opinion. But you want everybody to align. And somewhere walking in the parking garage after the first session, you're going to feel it because you're going to be at this fancy hotel, right? You want to get off campus for this thing. It's that quiet, sinking feeling that you built another plan for the room that was available. Yeah, just the room that was easy to fill, not the room that the plan required. I want you to think about that. Here's what I've learned working with nearly 1,000 leadership teams. The most expensive room in ed leadership isn't the boardroom. It's not the fancy table. It's the planning room that looks complete, but it isn't. Yeah, you're allowed to feel just like, what's he getting at? There's a weight to this, folks. And today I'm going to name it. And today I'm going to just say it's fixable. It's fixable this summer. That's the good news. One question, and answer it honestly. Answer it right now. When you look at your top 3 strategic priorities, how many of them have somebody attached to them who is genuinely indispensable to achieving them? Not responsible. That's a whole different thing. Indispensable. That's the differentiator here. The person who just has that specific capacity, right? If it wasn't in the room, would make that outcome structurally impossible. What's that number? Versus the number of your priorities you have. And that ratio is actually your planning problem, right? Because here's the math. And I've done this before, but I think it lands so importantly well. Your average cabinet, let's just say $140K per person, 8 members. Do the math. That's 1.1 mil right, in that room. And teams missing the capacity their strategy requires run at about 60%. That's what we find of collective potential. That's nearly a $500,000 gap, boss. It's not a project management problem. Most of you are pointing to that. No, it's really a room problem wearing a strategic plan. That's what it is. Okay, 3 moves. Non-negotiable. I want you to do this. First move, name what the vision actually requires. Look at your vision, the gaps that you are going to occlude, and become the preferred whatever to whoever. Not the skills, not titles, the specific experience that forged capacity, that the outcomes where they just can't survive without it. Okay? What does that require? Move 2. Audit that gap. There's going to be a gap there, guarantee. That capacity is usually present somewhere in the organization. It's just oftentimes not in the room where the plan gets built. And that's the problem with these old, outdated org charts that say who gets to be in the room and who doesn't. Sorry, I know, I heard it. I stepped on a few toes. Move 3, build the strategy around who's actually in the room. Not a plan any cabinet could execute, right? A plan designed around the specific humans who are going to execute upon it. Plans nobody owns deep enough to fight for or die for, right? In Q3, right? Let me tell you about a superintendent. I'll call him Dominic. 4 years, real progress, a cabinet he trusted completely, right? Student outcome gap in his highest needs school that wasn't budging. It was just not, that gap wasn't flinching. Right? His room was exceptional at systems thinking and community relationship, but his room had never personally closed a demographic outcomes gap. And that's what we were dealing with here. The capacity, really, it was in two of his core principles, PALS, right? The ones with ties on, right? The ones with bus duty, right? Neither of them had cabinet level experience. And neither of them were in the room. Neither of them were consulted. That was the problem. One structural change, a standing seat at the strategy table. 14 months later, movement on 3 outcome indicators, both schools, occluding the gap. Hasn't included it yet, but the same people, same challenges, complete room. That's what we're talking about. Here's the maturity shift. I think immature leaders think, well, my job is to build the best strategy for my cabinet. Think again, as Adam Grant would say. Mature leaders think my job is to build the cabinet that the strategy requires. Think about the difference there. And here's the thing about this thing called summer coming upon all of us. You can do it the way that you've observed for years, the way that it was done to you, right? And the way that you preserved it in your own leadership. And maybe you're one of those leaders that has a little gig on the side and you've always done it this way. I'm telling you, think again. Same room, same process, same blind spots, different document. Or you can build different. Okay. Builders don't wait for permission. We've got enough climbers and dreamers out there, folks, but builders don't wait for permission. They build the room before they build the plan. Think about that. If you've got some average performing executive leaders that just expect to be in the room while you're building the plan, think again, boss. Okay? Get off your back foot and move towards that front foot of discomfort. There's your challenge. So before your summer planning session, take about 40 minutes. Write your top 3 priorities. Under each one, what specific capacity is structurally necessary? What is that capacity? And then check your cabinet. Who has it? Bing, 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 bing. Or it's a big fat question mark. Who's missing? Is it in your organization, but just not in your room? Then do something about it. I think that audit is where transformation actually begins, because dynamically you've got a lot of just core leaders. Yes, they might have voice to the process, but if they're not seated in the room, giving the essence to the process, that's a whole different deal. There's 2 ways to go deeper. One is just the Team Institute, where we teach you to build differently. You can find that at higherperformancegroup.com. Solutions, you can find it on the webpage there, but also a virtual coffee. Just message me directly. You know where to find me, where you can talk through some of these things that are non-traditional and we're not learning about them in our graduate programs. And most retired folks that are doing the strategic planning work have never done it in a dynamic way. So it's not rocket science. And honestly, boss, I think you ought to be leading much of your own directional. We'll just call it continuous improvement. I love that term much more than strategic planning. So you can comment below, maybe just one word. That capacity might be missing from your planning room. Is it vision? Is it execution? Is it just community knowledge? Is it operational reality? Folks, let's build like a champion today. You know where to find me, higherperformancegroup.com. Click on whatever thing that interests you, and Duke's up for you, boss. Peace. I'll see you next time.